So I think that Eric von Markovic, a.k.a. Mystery, a.k.a. the pickup artist.
I'm sorry, his real name.
That's his real name.
If you know his real name, by the way, you could defeat him and exile him to the fourth dimensional plane.
I could defeat anybody with Wikipedia, because that's what I did to look up his name. So I can defeat him. I can defeat pretty much anybody.
That fantasy rule only holds up in an era without Wikipedia. Oh, Rumpelstiltskin just looked you up. You dumb bitch. See ya.
Looked up your fucking silk spinning ass.
Wait, why are we just putting him on blast other than his entire life?
I think he's a genius, Chad.
Go. Okay, Paul, go on.
I'm just going to say the one reason I think he's a genius. The guy built redundancy into his persona for jobs.
Wait, what do you mean? Explain.
So he could be the pickup artist, and then when that fails, he can be a magician, because he looks like a magician.
He could be a magician.
He could just roll out of bed and be a magician that day.
I guess you're right. I mean, well,
look at him. Look at him. He's
if you're not familiar, if the flash in the pan reality star Mystery from VH1's The Pickup Artist, who was also, I think, I don't know who became, if he was on there first or if he was on talk shows as a pickup artist before that. It's like a chicken or the egg.
Yeah.
Like, which came first of Mystery's career. But he was an eccentric man who looked like a guy who would work at the space between a Hot Topic and a tattoo shop. Like, in the wall, you would open it up and he would just be in there like, hello, I'm Mystery.
It looks like he maybe got tarred and feathered, but just his hat got tarred and feathered.
He had a giant, like, you look at his hat and go, oh, this is more ridiculous than Johnny Depp's Mad Hatter. It's
yeah. But here's the thing. Third redundancy, Jamiroquai cover band. So, I mean, he's got three things.
Oh, my God, you're right. I could see Mystery doing virtual insanity and dancing on that moving floor.
Oh, my
Actually, the floor wasn't moving. Spoilers, the walls were moving. I saw how it was made on VH1's Behind the Music, also on VH1.
Holy shit, you just blew my mind twice. One, with the video thing. Two, you remembered what the song was called, and now I remember what the song was.
So Mystery was the guy who was running all that terrible The Game stuff. And I feel like that was the thing that broke the game into, like, public consciousness.
Yeah,
right?
once the game became known, it no longer worked, right?
Yeah, I can say. Well, I mean, here's Paul. I'll tell you real quick.
Did you the game at all?
I didn't. Well, there was an embarrassing. I don't think it's a wild stretch to imagine that young Chad didn't have any girlfriend until like 23. So around high school, I was starting to get desperate, and there was definitely a couple weeks. Big confessions. I didn't do the game,
right?
But not knowing what it was, I found a like online GeoCities page that was like called the Don Juan Bible.
Okay,
and it started to sound right to high school Chad. But it was just about like how to talk and like be confident. And then I do remember there was a part where it was like there was two main terms, and one of them was like. I said, like, this seems weird. Was called, like, established Kino. I don't know if Mystery ever talked about it, but established Kino or something.
That's where you touch them, right?
Find ways to, like, just make contact, which I thought sounded gross.
It is gross,
and I never saw until I was here in L.A. I've definitely been to parties where I see a guy. It'll be super obvious. When you see a guy do it, he'll be like, oh, hey, girl, there's a bug on your knee, and then he'll just like reach and grab her knee, and they're like, I guess there was no bug there, and then the girl is always skeezed out.
Oh, without a doubt, you should go up to him after they do that, and you should be like, "Nice Kino, bro," like in front of both of them.
Nice Kino, bro. I wish I had known. Yeah. It was a big in a few of the places in LA I was hanging out in. High school Chad never did any of it.
Right. But you didn't touch any random girls.
I was too scared. That's too terrifying. I will say. The game is still alive and well, unfortunately, in that a couple of years ago, at a nice bar in L.A., talking to a lady friend of mine. We had, just been friends. We were flirting a lot at this bar, having a nice conversation with her. And like a thing out of a movie, a terrible, terrible National Lampoon's or American Pie movie, a guy dressed kind of like that, not nearly as bad as, a clown magician. He just came in between us.
Like, he's the guy that drives the crazy, like, magician car into the ring.
Yes. He would be, like, in Wacky Races.
Yes.
And he slipped in between us, instantly took my lady friend's hand. I wasn't on a date with her, by the way. I was just talking to her at this bar. Lady friend's hand, and just put her in something like a dance move where he was just kind of ballet dancing with her and just whisked her away. And there was about 20 seconds of me going, well, she's going to come back because no one would allow that to happen. No normal person would allow them to be whisked away into a ballroom dancing scene. She loved it and then left with him.
Hold on, Chad.
What?
Was there any interaction between these two people before the ballroom dance?
Not at all. No. It was literally, I see this girl talking to this guy, and him going, whoo, and he just started carrying her away, and you could see her going, I love it! It's a wild mystery adventure! I don't know what's gonna happen! And she left within like 10-15 minutes. That's
unfathomable.
I wasn't even like, I didn't feel like I had failed. I was more just like disappointed in her.
I'm disappointed that we'll never be able to experience anything that wonderful for ourselves.
I guess it just felt like so many red flags should have gone off for everyone in that room. I feel like a bouncer should have been like, hey, no random Crimson Peak ballroom dancing in here.
Don't you Kino dance with that girl.
Don't you Kino dance with that girl. Don't you know Kino? That's Kino.
You're Kinoing, no Kinoing in here.
You're Kinoing all over. I feel like the other term, I don't think I even got to it, but it would have been a big red flag, is the key idea, I think, of the game is negging.
Yes, I know that one. That's one that you can use on humans and dogs as well.
Wait, why would you ever neg a dog? The dog loves you already.
Isn't that what the dog whisperer does? Don't they neg the dogs?
No, he does not. Wait.
I thought that's that noise is a neg for the dog.
Wait, if he's negging the dogs, that would mean he goes up to the dog and goes like, hey, dog, your haircut's... your fur's looking pretty good, for a piece of shit. Like, just that kind of like... And the dog's like, why are you saying this to me? Because negging is just like saying a nice thing, kind of, but then insulting them so that they'll want to impress you.
I thought it was something else. Oh, okay. I misunderstood negging.
I would love to see the dog whisperer just neg the shit out of dogs left and right.
I'm gonna fuck that dog later.
I'm gonna fuck that dog later. He says the other dog whisperer is like, I don't know what this is anymore. I thought we just trade dogs to walk. Paul, did you ever do anything from the game? I mean, obviously you're in a nice long-term committed relationship.
No, thankfully I never had to actually try to run the game, but I know of it. I've heard of it.
What do you think would have happened? Like, how do you think? I don't want to speak too much for your beloved.
Sure.
But how do you think she would react to any of those techniques ever happening to her?
So I was at a bar one time where a guy tried to run some game, and I swear he was trying to neg me.
What did he do? Did he come in like all fucking slinky and slanky like Shaggy?
Yeah, he just worked his way into the group, and I was just like it's like 5 of us, and we're just hanging out, and we're all in like committed relationships hanging out, and this dude just walks in and starts trying to neg me down in the middle of the group.
Wait, was he negging? Oh, was he trying to make you look like lame to her?
Yeah, he was. I think he was going to go that way first and then neg her afterward.
He's negging everyone in that room.
Yeah, he was just dropping neg bombs left and right.
He was dropping a neg salad on everyone.
Yeah, neg salad. That's fantastic. You got to write your own book now.
Oh my god, I got a new book. I got to rush to the publisher.
A little neg salad for the ladies tonight.
So how did that end up? Did you guys kill that person?
Jen is very smart. She was just like, she basically shot the guy down for me. I didn't have to try to defend myself. She defended my honor for me and her.
No, that's great. But you guys didn't draw and quarter that person?
No, I mean I would have liked to have. He bought us beers too, which was weird. That was a weird thing. Oh.
He's got to show off.
Yeah, he tried to build, he made himself look real good. Came in with the beers. It was strange. It was in Boston.
Okay, but then he leaned in. Yeah, I've been to Boston. But then he leaned in and he was like, "I put my finger in your beer. Suck it.
I'm gonna fuck you later."
Here's the other weird coincidence. Only part of the game I ever saw in real life was while I stayed for a short period of time at a thing called the Oakwood Apartments in Los Angeles.
That sounds horrible.
In a place, in a documentary called The Hollywood Complex about washed-up actors. It's like kind of temporary living. I was a terrible choice to live there. Every night, there was a bunch of wannabe actors hitting on actresses, doing that shit very blatantly,
right.
Mostly not working. The funniest thing about it was that at least 7 different dudes over the course of the summer all had fake Irish accents.
What?
Like, they were all doing the game, and then then I would try not to talk to them, but there's only so much room in the pool.
Right. Yeah.
Like you would find out over the course of the summer 7 different guys had fake Irish accents that would only find out because they'd get drunk and then they would just drop it.
Wait, they would stay in
like, well, badly, but like when they were talking, like when they were coming out, like, this is me at the Oakwoods. I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna hook up with a beautiful girl. I need to be Irish. And so it would be like this level of good, like, oi, well, I brought some beers, maybe some Guinnesses. What? Hey, what's going on? I mean, what? Like, it would just be that.
Oh my God.
So the game is a terrible monster of a lifestyle. Listen, if you're on the game, I understand the core idea of that you just want to have confidence.
Hey, if you just want to have confidence, that's great, man. Hey, it preaches some good things. Like any religion, it preaches some good things.
Yeah, I would akin it to like a comic book super soldier serum where you're just trying to go for like the right idea. I just want to make people better. I want to make them stronger and cure cancer and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
But then there's always the scientist who's like, but then I decided, what if I could get stronger?
Right.
What if instead of just curing bonitis,
right,
I make myself into a giant skeleton man? Wouldn't that be cool? No, pickup artist. No.
Absolute power, dude.
You've gone way beyond just being confident. You see everyone as items. Yeah. Why? Welcome to Goosebuds.
Hello to show about Eric von Markovic.
Aaron von Markovic. God, I wish you would watch. Quick, before we do the topic, Paul. Give me your pickup artist.
What my name would be?
Yes.
Desire.
I've instantly seen you with like a scene haircut, like your hair swapped down over that side, and like 3 polos, but they're not the collar swap. They're just they're very neat. You're a very neat boy.
Sure, yeah, okay.
3 polos and a chain for some reason.
Oh, okay. Get this though. It's not spelled how you think it's going to be spelled.
Oh God! Wait, can I guess?
Sure, yeah.
DEESYREZ.
That's it now. That's fantastic.
And you say it every time. When you say some of your name, you spell it out every single time.
DEEZY.
You just put it in there. I would go by the name Ballpark Frank. I would say hello, Ballpark Frank, and then they go, "What's that mean?" I go, "I'm plump when you cook me," and I lean in and go, "What's up?" And then they go, "I don't like this," and I go, "I know you don't. It's called negging." And like, that's not how this works.
They'd be like, "Yeah, you smell like a hot dog too." Oh,
yeah, I rolled around in hot dog water. You want to listen to Limp Bizkit and Chocolate Starfish, the hot dog flavored water? It's my favorite album. Call me Ballpark Frank.
I don't wear cologne. I just get in some wiener water soup and I bathe in it.
I basically just put like 2 packages of Oscar Mayer's in my armpits. And then I just kind of like flap my arms like I'm doing the chicken dance, and that just gives me all of the juices I need for at least the night. What's up?
Who would have thought that without Dom here, things would be even crazier?
Yeah, what's going on? I feel like we're just both so nervous without the powerful insight of Dom that we have to just like please Daddy, and Daddy is R.L. Stein, who's always listening.
Yes. Oh, he's here now. I listened to the last episode, and
he's always
listening.
Here. Oh yeah. By the way, so this is your first episode. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
If you just found this, I'm sorry. This is Goosebuds, a podcast.
We always do this though.
I feel like this was a more gregarious one, but that's fine.
Yes.
Welcome to Goosebuds. Let's introduce what we do. I'm Chad Quant.
And I'm Paul Ritchie.
And usually our third, Dom Muschietti, is here with us. And we talk about Goosebump books and give them the analysis they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
And for today's episode, we have... I don't know how to describe this book other than slow.
Oh, my God, Chad.
Oh, God, Paul.
The Werewolf of Fever Swamp. I wish that swamp had a fever. I wish that
swamp had a fever. Well, this is a werewolf. This book's so slow. This is a werewolf that's stuck in the swamp up about waist deep and also only has 1 leg and 1 arm.
Yes.
Like, it's just moving that slow, and you kind of see him coming from the muck at you. You're like, that's going to be a problem in like 7 days. I should probably get out of the way.
If I camped here for like 2 weeks, he might get me.
He'd probably get to me. I mean, it would have to be a full lunar cycle, like all over again. Man, This is a real dilemma.
The cover of this book has cool colors.
It does have a great color scheme. It is a wolf howling on a rock while a bunch of boys' clothes.
Yeah, so is he the
it?
boy, or did he eat the boy? I don't.
Well, I think they're trying to play it vague, as in like he ate the boy, but it definitely looks like that wolf isn't even a werewolf. It's just a wolf. That's the thing.
It's not even like wolf.
It's not even a monster werewolf. So it just looks like a regular wolf. Just wore clothes, aka just came from FurryCon.
Yeah.
Like it just looked like just hanging out here. What's up? I'm the most scary werewolf of Fever Swamp. Let's talk about Fever Swamp. This has a thing I've noticed in a couple of Goosebump books. The background of the Fever Swamp town is more interesting than the story.
Yes.
And this goes back to our very first book, Welcome to Dead House, and where they're like, yeah, there's a ghost living in the houses, but there was this weird mine explosion and yellow gas came across the town and killed everyone.
Yes.
What's that about? This is the same way in that mostly a story about a werewolf, or who is a werewolf.
It's mostly a story about a boy who hears howls at night.
Yeah, exactly.
And finds dead rabbits.
It's really just like a good, loyal werewolf, except for, the story of the town is like 100 years ago. Everyone in town got a weird fever from the swamp, and they started walking around and lying on the ground and dying. And
that's the Stephen King novel that I want to read.
Exactly. Like, even if that turned people into werewolves, that's more interesting.
And the kid almost got it. He almost
got it. I was expecting some sort of like kind of twist reveal of like, oh, that's a common thing is the legend was misconstrued due to history. So I thought it was going to be like, oh yeah, the fever that everyone thought was real, it was just a werewolf killing everyone, or everyone turned into a werewolf or something.
Right.
No, it just people fell down and dead from a fever.
It's just like it was 100 years ago, so fevers killed people back then. But now the kid just gets sick.
Right.
He just gets sick for 5 days and plays Nintendo.
I guess they just had a cold. It's not that scary of a story in retrospect.
Yeah, they had a really, really, really strong cold.
They had a real doozy one, and there was no NyQuil yet. So yeah, what do you do? Also, maybe there's just a werewolf that comes to town.
He eats them while they're weak.
Yeah, well. Like, there's very little that happens in this book.
Well, so let's set it up. Okay.
Yes.
I had to look up the kid's name again because I just forgot.
I always forget. To me, they're just me,
Yeah,
it's
Cypher.
Chad.
Yeah, Cypher Tucker is his name.
Cypher Tucker or Grady Tucker.
Yeah, Grady Tucker. And Emily is his sister. And they moved into town. Like
another move.
Like 80% of these books.
This is set in all of those beats. And they moved into a new
Florida.
house.
They moved to Florida.
Not the vacationary. This is in all the beats though. Moved to a new town, Florida. Mm-hmm. Parents have a weird job that made them move. It's also a part of it. So they are scientists. A lot of scientists in these books.
Yeah. Oh my god, I didn't think about it. That. Didn't connect for me.
Yeah, a lot of scientists. Also, like, has no relevance to the plot other than he goes, "This is the craziest idea of the whole book," and it's at the very beginning. Is we moved into this new town because the scientist's dad or mom, I don't know if they work together like Jurassic Park doctors. Discovered a rare form of swamp deer.
Swamp deer, which, did you Google if that's real? Because I didn't.
No, I just immediately wrote down angry, what is swamp deer? What is this about? Like, doesn't say anything else other than just, I found some swamp deer. So this changes everything, and they decide to move to experiment on swamp deer in Florida.
And they're not even from Florida, the deer. So they just brought them there to do testing on them?
This is the most, like, inaccurate scientific thing I think I've ever read in the book. In that, like, so he discovered deer living in another swamp, which it might have been a deer that was lost. It might have been, like, a deer, like, near the same road. Oh, fuck, swamp deer! Like, there's nothing different about them, from what we can tell. So he says, I had a scientific theory that deer can live in swamps. So let's move some deer that seem to just be random deer and put them in another environment and see if they survive.
Completely different environment.
Number one, good job, you dummies. You never let the deer out of the cages, so they didn't acclimate to the environment at all.
They didn't live in the swamp. They lived in the backyard of the house, you dumbass.
They lived in the backyard in a cage, so you're not testing anything.
Right.
Like, that's his entire purpose, and he kept going like, I'm going to get around to it. What the fuck are you doing?
Where the dad walked the deer out on a leash to the swamp. Not one.
That would have been the best scene, though.
That would have been
I'm thinking of,
fantastic.
like, letting them loose wild, but instead you're thinking of, like, oh, come on, baby. Come on.
He's hurting them.
Come on. He's, like, on a horse. He's like, yeah, dear, yeah. And he runs him straight into the swamp banks where an alligator gets him.
There's not one alligator in this, too.
There's not one alligator. It's a swamp, and other than a snake that bites someone, like, nothing very swamp scary. Like,
no, there's not really any scary things besides the snake bite was terrifying, actually.
Yeah, because it was real.
Because it was real. The kid gets bit by a fucking snake. And the parents are kind of like, oh, you got yourself bit. And then that's it.
These parents are weirdly aloof. But let me also mention, I'm pretty sure if you're a nature scientist, I can't think of the real term, if you're an animal expert who loves nature, the number one thing is you don't introduce new wildlife or animals to an exotic.
Right.
Like, we've lost so many crops because one person was like, oh, Chinese ladybug, come with me, little ladybug. And they got on the plane. And then the Chinese ladybug decimated our country and still does.
Yeah.
To bring other deer to a random state that they don't live in is like a huge no-no.
Who gave them this grant?
Who did give them this grant? They never say anything about it.
They're from South America, these deer.
Wait, is that true?
That's true. I just saw it in the Wikipedia.
Wait. That means there was a plane trip with 6 deer on it.
So he studied deer in Vermont until he came in possession of 6 swamp deer from South America.
But that means he discovered them, though, right? So, like, he went to South America at one point and saw
he went
a
to like
swamp
an
deer?
auction and someone was like, I got 6 deer from South America. You want them?
So, sight unseen, he just said swamp deer. It's like, by George, is a new breed. I got to see what they do.
I'll take them to Florida.
I'll see what goes on there.
So he took some to Florida. And the scariest things that happen in Florida, apparently, to this kid, howls at night and finding dead animals, it's Florida, guys. It's like 50% dead animals.
Yeah, there were dead animals like at his doorstep throughout the time. And basically, we're not skipping over any of the story other than Grady's just hanging out, befriends a few kids.
And then walks into the swamp. We skipped over one major thing.
Oh, please.
The homeless hobbit man.
Oh, yeah.
Who lives in the woods that everyone just thinks, let him be.
This book has, I think, 4 or 5 red herring characters.
Yes.
I feel like.
Yeah,
there's a lot of it.
The hermit doesn't do anything. Or does he save him at the end? I can't even remember.
The hermit apparently carries him to safety at the end.
Right.
So let's go down the list.
Okay.
So there's
the hermit.
Grady, there's Hermit, and by the way, the dad's immediate response to like, oh, Dad, I saw a hermit in the swamp. He's like, oh, it's just a swamp hermit. Don't worry about him.
He's like, oh yeah, I heard about that swamp hermit. Yeah, just let him go.
Like, I'm sorry, you're suddenly an expert on swamps, and you just know that there are swamp hermits. Like, who are you, scientist man?
And the swamp hermit chases them in the very beginning of the book.
Yes, yeah. Well, he also like multiple times. Just kind of like misleads them. Like at one point, he just jokingly laughs at them and goes, "Ha ha ha! I'm the werewolf. I'm the werewolf."
Yeah.
So like he either heard them, I guess, or he's just like fucking with them. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. There's the hermit. Next one, the neighbor that gets abducted.
Yeah.
And
what's that about?
They talk about how he hunts wild turkeys, and then we see the hermit carrying a dead wild turkey. For some reason, so you think it's connected,
but was it?
Yeah, he carries a dead turkey. The guy never shows up again. They never talk about that.
Wait, was that that's not the neighbor that? Okay, so this requires. So there's the hermit. There's the missing neighbor, which I guess could have been a really weird. Like that's the werewolf the whole time.
Yeah,
because he went missing. There's his friend Bill, who's not really giving any clues, but spoilers, he's the werewolf.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, this is good to notice. This is the werewolf from the Goosebumps movie, which I thought was strange.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, because in the movie, the werewolf has like gym shorts and tennis shoes.
That's right.
So it's like a kid werewolf.
That werewolf was cool. He was cool, but
like it's such a non-iconic monster from Goosebumps to use. But
right.
we talked about this in the podcast. Go check out the podcast. So there's him. I feel like there's like 2 other random girls just hanging out might be.
There's Emily, his sister, and then there's another neighbor girl who's weird. She's a weirdo.
Yeah, so she's kind of a clue.
She's the Luna Lovejoy.
She's the Luna
Lovegood.
Luna Lovegood. Luna Lovegood.
Yeah.
Lovejoy is a different character in the Harry Potter universe. It's my original character. Back off. Luna Lovejoy is special and unique in her own way, and she is totally different. And I think that's it. Am I forget? There's a lot of red herring characters.
That's about, as far as characters go, that's it.
But you're right, though. Like that guy goes missing, and I think you're supposed to just forget about it. But like, no, that guy, they never find out who did that. That guy's gone.
Yeah. And then we were supposed to assume that he got eaten.
But did he?
Then
we
do
never
the thing,
see a body.
The hermit is carrying the thing that man likes to hunt, so I assumed, I don't know, that maybe he murdered him
that's
for
such
it.
a vague thing to say. Like, you guys both like killing certain things. Like,
I just think there's a background murder that happened here. The hermit killed the neighbor.
Yeah, there's a real murder that no one got resolved.
Again, you get the fever swamp, which had the cool 100 years ago fever killing, and then there's the background murder. There's like this Gacy murder that's happening out here. This weird hermit man that's killing people.
But meanwhile, the entire book is mostly just focused on Grady continually going out into the swamp, seeing something strange. It's usually not that bad. Mm-hmm. And then at night, oh, by the way, they find that's the other red herring. They pick up a dog. A dog encounters them. A giant 100-pound dog tackles them and starts being his friend. Yeah. And like following them around and acting weird, scratching at the door, jumping through windows and stuff. Probably supposed to be the most likely werewolf, I feel like. I think you're supposed to think that's...
Well, because the dad thinks it the whole time, and I think they're really pushing it the whole time. They're like, this is the werewolf. He's going nuts at the full moon.
So he's never around whenever the werewolf shows up, so you're like, I guess he's maybe the werewolf too. So there's 5 potential werewolves.
Yes.
None of them interesting to watch. And it's just Grady going like, heard a scratching. I don't think he sees a werewolf until the end, right? Like,
there's one part where he thinks he sees it.
Right.
For a brief moment, but then it's just kind of like, I think it howls and then it goes away. And he's
why not have an encounter with it early on? Just throw it out there. Maybe.
In fact, does he ever see it?
Wait, yeah, like, okay, so yeah, we'll just explain the end of this. So after several nights of just, there was a scratching. Oh, one of the deer got eaten. Oh, and by the way, one of the deer gets eaten. Dad can take care of his swamp deer. He seals up the hole with cardboard. With cardboard.
Yes, I thought that too. I was like, okay, you're obviously not a contractor. You're a scientist.
It was at this point that I assumed he's not a scientist. This is a random dad who lied to his family, and they're just in Florida with deer, and he's actually doing something different.
Look, Dad bought some magic beans, okay? Turns out they're just 6 regular beans.
Yeah, they're just 6 regular beans. He's just got to lie. He's got to lie to his family and keep the lie going for a long time. Like, oh, God, I hope none of them ever never get on the internet in the 90s and find out the swamp deer aren't real things. Oh, God, please. I hope they never find this out.
These were just 5 Pennsylvania bucks that I bought.
Wait, what if he, like, got deer and just, like, hot glued, like, leather to them? like there's...
He put the fucking scuba diving slippers on their feet. Little flippers on their feet.
I'm just picturing the dad talking to his son like, oh no, these are some of nature's rarest and most terrifying animals. And he just picks up a deer and just throws it into the swamp. Just like, oh, see, look at him go. Look at him go. Oh, he's underwater because he's scared. You scared him, Grady.
This is his natural swamp. He probably just isn't used to it yet.
Grady, that's your fault. Grady, that's on you.
Grady, it's your fucking dog's fault.
but I think they just go out to the swamp for no reason. They hear another thing. I feel like every time it was like, I saw a bird I wanted to see, or I heard a thing, or I just decided to go out there in the woods. As they go out looking for that werewolf one more time, suddenly I think Bill, his friend, just chomps him down on the shoulder. Like, I don't even know, does he even see it?
I think, he hold on. I don't remember if he actually sees it. I think he just...
Yeah, let's
No, you know what? He does see it, and the dog saves him. Because you're like...
Right, yeah, the dog saves him. But it kind of the dog saves him, and it just kind of read like theoretically it was over his shoulder. He really didn't get a glimpse of it. It was just like a quick attack.
Right.
But yes, then the dog comes in to save him. Don't worry, 100-pound dog that they really originally named Wolf. They really have a lot of originality to call it Wolf.
It's just like all the other naming mechanics in Goosebumps books. They're fantastic.
Well, it's like foreshadow. Right. Attacks him, and Grady just kind of like blacks out, and then he wakes up and is like, oh, the hermit carried you out to safety, and he says the dog helped save your life. I guess you can save the dog.
Right. But okay, so
go.
The whole book. It's okay. The whole book is literally him getting scared at night of noises. Of a bump in the night, And then he goes outside and he finds a dead animal. That happens like 3 times.
Yeah, and well, here's what I first thought. Was the werewolf bringing him food?
Yeah, what was that? Was he being friendly?
Because, all right, let's say theory. Let's look into the story that Bill's the werewolf.
Yeah.
He doesn't really even play the game well. Like, the tabletop game Ultimate Werewolf, which is my favorite thing.
Right.
He doesn't even play it well because anytime, like, evidence that another thing is the werewolf comes up, he also helps sometimes shoots it down. Like,
he shoots it down right away.
At one point, they discover, maybe he's just trying, I don't know. At one point, they discover, like, a bird is all torn up, and he's like, oh, God, I think maybe the dog did this.
Yeah.
And then Bill's like, dogs don't tear apart birds like that. It must have been something else.
Right.
But, like, number one, dogs do. 2,
yes.
Why just go along with it, Bill? You're the werewolf. Like, why would you
hide in plain sight, Will? Like, come on. Cassie, he hates Cassie because Cassie believes in the werewolf and he knows that he's the werewolf.
But he's also perpetrating the idea of the werewolf sometimes. It's very...
Hold on. And also another thing. Did you have to look up the fact that full moons apparently last more than one night?
Well, that's not true, though, is it? I thought it was like...
No, it's not. It's not an actual full...
Yeah, like one night it's a full moon, and then like the next night it's like
a sliver.
15th, 16th of a full moon or something.
Yeah, and then like I had to look it up, and people were like, "Well, it kind of looks like one." And then I think the dad actually said something about how the full moon will be gone in a couple days, and I was like, "What are you fucking talking about?"
Okay, all right. This is an interesting thing to bring up, and I will say this: as soon as you mention this, the idea that it has to be a full moon for a werewolf to transform is kind of stupid.
Yes.
Well, unless we're saying that werewolves, because it always acts like the moon's rays will hit the werewolf and turn him into a werewolf.
Right.
Like, that theoretically would then mean that anytime the moon shines on anyone, it turns them into a werewolf if they're a werewolf.
Yeah.
Unless
so
it's saying,
only no moons would work then.
Yeah, unless they're saying that werewolves are on kind of a cosmic occult scale where it needs to be when the planets align, and a full moon is just the sign that the planets are in alignment, even though it's just a planet and a moon.
Right.
The idea is crazy. I've never thought about that, Paul. Like, a half moon should also work, or turn them into at least a half werewolf.
Right. Right.
What is this arbitrary rule made up by book writers?
And a moon doesn't give off light. It's actually just sunlight bouncing off the moon.
Yeah.
So technically they should always be a werewolf.
Yeah, werewolves are kind of bullshit. If not, what's on this moon that's turning werewolves into werewolves?
I think we just proved that werewolves suck.
I think we just came up with a great sci-fi concept of like them. Wait, has anyone ever written this or not? This is brilliant.
Oh, I don't know.
Like astronauts are on the moon and then discover that the moon has like an element on it that's essentially causes like lycanthropy. Like it causes werewolves, and they're like, oh my god, on Earth, moon's rays would totally create a magnifying effect because it's the sun bouncing off this element.
Oh my god, I would tell you to write this down, but we're already recording it, so it's just already pre-written down.
Wait, Paul, moon, werewolf planet. Is a book that I will start writing with you immediately.
Moon,
werewolf
planet, parentheses, it's Earth.
This is a great premise. I love this a lot.
We're good. We're pretty good at this.
We're pretty good at this. Way better than this book where nothing else happens other than the boy wakes up in his bed, right? He's just like, oh, I'm sure. Here's my thing. He's like, I'm sure it was a werewolf. I got bit by a werewolf. And his parents like don't really say no. They're just like, you're crazy. You're crazy, Grady, but whatever. And he's like, okay, but mom and dad, can I please keep the dog? Please, please, please. I'm like, whoa, boy, you are dropping this topic real fast, Grady.
Right.
You are moving from I was bit by a werewolf to our friend. Oh, also, right before that, then the dad goes, I believe you somewhat or something. I'm going to go check out where your friend lives.
Oh, yeah. And he ghosts him, dude.
He ghosts him. He gets to the house and it's like empty and abandoned and no one's been living there for months.
Yeah. What was Will doing?
Was Will a werewolf at some point? But like, wait, where was his family? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, like, did his family just be like, kid's a fucking werewolf now.
We better leave him. Well, yeah, so it's either Will's house and his family was either killed or left him or whatever. He's been living there still in an abandoned house.
Do werewolves live forever? Is that like a thing?
I don't know. I would imagine that well, here's a real question.
Okay.
When they transform to werewolves, are they still aging? Because if nothing, you could say that once a month they don't human age and they revert back to their they're subtly time traveling. You know what I mean? Like they're putting themselves in stasis. I think it builds up over a couple of years.
Yeah, Will could stay pretty young for a while, I think.
For a while. Yeah, but they only said the house has been empty for like a couple months. So he was just living in an abandoned house he had no connection to, maybe? Why is Will there?
And how come Cassie didn't know about that? She seems to know an awful lot about the rest of the town.
I think Cassie's the murderer.
You think so? She's
something up with Cassie.
She's fucking covering up for the hermit. She's working with the hermit, dude.
Oh, yeah, that hermit did something. By the way, there's like a line where they see the hermit is like, he's got blood all over his shirt. So it's like a red herring that he's the werewolf, but also why does he have blood all over his shirt?
Right.
Like, I guess he killed a turkey, but why does he have blood all over his shirt?
He killed the neighbor. He killed the neighbor for the turkey.
And put the body in the swamp in the most interesting place in the whole book.
And Cassie's trying to throw everyone off the trail by talking about the werewolf.
She's the swamp hermit's daughter.
Oh my god. And the swamp hermit had sex with Will's parents and they broke up and they left town. Oh my god, this town's a mess.
Speaking of, so Will bites Grady. Wolf the dog attacks. We don't see the rest of the fight.
No.
Why does Will leave?
Well, the wolf scares him off, right?
But no, sorry. Why does Will leave the town forever?
Well, there can only be one werewolf because as we have not revealed yet, Grady turns into a werewolf in the last 2 sentences of this book. Oh, yeah.
He's like, I got bit by a werewolf, which is just the common sense. As soon as you read it, like, oh, he's a werewolf then, because no one's doing anything about it.
Right.
So he's like, oh, it's cool. Me and Wolf like to go out and hunt at night in the swamp. I really like it. I like being a werewolf. Thank you, Will, for the curse you've passed to me. But like, that's not how it works. There's always still the original werewolves.
Right. Yeah. They shouldn't they have a pack or something that's going on at this point?
Yeah, that's real. That would even be cooler. Honestly, he's like, I did see Will again when we transformed, and now we're a pack and we're looking for others or something.
That would be sweet.
Yeah. You're like, oh, they're spreading. Instead, it's just like, Will moved to Ohio. Or something, or whatever happened to Will.
Like maybe they could have been like, and then Cassie was our next, addition.
Oh, and we thought it would be nice to have a female in the pack.
Yeah, that's cool.
Man, we should really write Moon: Werewolf Planet real soon.
Werewolf Planet (parentheses it's Earth).
Oh my god! Wait, can we? If we put this in the podcast, we own the idea, right? Like no one can take this idea. And
we'll sue the shit out of you if you take it.
Movie studios have been picking up a lot of cool stuff off Reddit and like random like Ask Reddit ideas. I don't want someone taking Werewolf Moon Planet away from
it's
me.
Earth.
Parentheses it's Earth. Parentheses it's not, but like technically it is an Earth because people live on it. It isn't kind of an interesting metaphor for human civilization. That's all the sub paragraph.
So if your book listener contains any of those things, we will sue you for it.
We will sue. We will take you down hard.
We will sue the shit out of you.
We will send Dom after you, and that's why he's not on the podcast because he is taking down people who are already starting to write our books.
He's just on the streets, just fucking killing right now, like just for practice. Just for practice.
This is what Dom's strategy is. He's just going down the street and going, hey, you ever thought about writing a book about werewolves on the moon? And if someone goes, yeah, now that I think about it, he kills them.
He goes, ha-cha!
He just chops them. Instantly dead. Oh, you gotta take the heads off because they might be a werewolf too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
This book, listen, great discussion, terrible book.
It was, I was reading it and I was just like, there's no, like, I took 5 notes. 5 notes, yeah. Because I was like, there's literally nothing in here.
Well, other than this like secret murder plot we unveiled, but yes, I
did realize something from this book because it started with the kid moving again.
Yes.
And I realized why R.L. Stine does that. Because that's every kid's true greatest fear is having to move.
I guess it is.
It's scary.
As someone who grew up in one town his entire life, I kind of always wanted to do that.
We almost moved. My family almost moved, and I was like, nah. I was like, I'm vetoing that. I'm vetoing it. And I thought I had more say than I really did. I realize now that it wouldn't have mattered what I said.
Okay.
But it did. But it's scary, dude.
I guess, man. It is scary, but we're creating a Bible of things that must happen in a standard Goosebump book, and the 1 and 2 things is 1 must be moving to a new town. To your parents must have a strange job that could be maybe connected to the plot.
Right.
If nothing, it'll give them excuses to go away on long trips.
Right, exactly.
That's what we've started to put together.
Yep.
Number 3 is jump scares or or fake outs.
Like the root that grabs his leg in this one.
Yeah. Scariest thing in the swamp is that swamp root.
That swamp root, dude. No, dude, it could have been a swamp thing for all we know. And we know how the swamp thing rolls, dude. He'll save your ass, but only if it's a demon.
Here's the thing. I want to bring this up because in our subreddit, there's a nice little discussion going on, as they often are for all of our books, for the Werewolf of Fever Swamp. And Dartherial points out several lines. I'll read from his. It goes,
please.
I will say this, though. This is one of the more gore-filled Goosebump books in my memory. Lots of mention of blood and, just lots of dead, maimed animals that are really gross to read about. And then it goes on, which is true. That is very brutal.
I thought, it's funny because I thought about that when he talked about like the viscera of the dead thing, and I was like, oh man, they couldn't. How would they do this on TV?
Why couldn't they show that?
Did you watch the episode?
I started watching it, and the only thing I really enjoyed was how much. I guess it was Grady is just like roasting his sister. Like the opening part of this episode, I'm sure it's all the TV writers, just starts like a Def Comedy Jam roast. Where it's just like
awesome.
It's like, oh god, there's a snake in my house, and he's like, hey, you put an earring on it, it'll look like your last boyfriend. Oh, it's just like this, it's like shots like that over and over and over again. It's like, oh, I like this kid. I hope something cool happens, and nothing cool happens.
Dude. These kids were so white bread too, man. They were so boring. Like they were just so boring and plain. It was ridiculous.
It's pretty boring. I also want to call out, while we're on the subreddit, one more thing I want to point out. Reddit Google, which is a great name because you're just covering all bases, mentions that not only is this a book that got Goosebumps banned in his house. I'm not sure. I don't know if maybe just the visceral. Maybe it was just, I'm assuming, all the animal organs.
Well, he says, to follow that up, is in elementary school I did a book report on this very book. It did not go well. So I'm assuming the terrible book report is what got the book banned.
Maybe that's what it was. But I like his question goes, he was asked the question, what was the moral of the story? And he went, I think I wrote something like, don't trust people you don't know. Which is valid. Honestly, if I was a teacher and I got that essay, I was like, yep, he's got everything he needs to know.
Yep.
Don't open your heart to anyone. Don't trust anyone. Look after yourself. Mo money, mo problems. A for the rest of the year.
Hey, you got it, dude. He basically learned like 2 years worth of school right there.
He really. I'm sorry. That's all you need to learn in school for the
Pretty
entirety.
much.
Yeah.
The reviews on the Wikipedia page have some pretty interesting things to say, such as this book is about victimization, which I don't know.
What?
How? And also alienation and transformation. Yes, it is literally.
It is about transformation, but it's not. That's given a lot of credit because when you hear transformation, you hear like, oh, it's like the hero's journey or something, but not really. Like the hero's journey isn't just a hero stays in neutral for 19 chapters and then at one point he suddenly turned into a werewolf. Right. That's not it. Like he has to.
The only thing that Grady learns is that being a werewolf kind of rules.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
that's all he learns.
Being a werewolf is way better. Here's the question, Paul: would you be a werewolf if you had the option?
Would I kill my loved ones?
No, you don't have to do that.
Then yes.
Yeah, here's the thing. Once you know you're a werewolf, like it's pretty easy to take precautions. I think it's actually kind of cool. You get to like build a like night dungeon, not a dungeon.
You're right.
But, like,
yes, like a werewolfium.
You get to write build like an I Am Legend tank house, and then just like spend the night in it. So you get to just spend a night in. You probably get to spend a couple hours just like eating popcorn and having a good old time reading a book.
Yeah, watch a movie, read a book.
Watch a movie. Yeah. I mean, and then like maybe the TV will get destroyed. But you keep it simple. You turn into a werewolf. You wake up in the morning. You're like, oh man, did I not sleep well? But boy, oh boy, am I okay? It sure is great. Get to be a werewolf whenever I want to.
Yeah, you basically go on one like good bender a month.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to, you could totally like. I think I would move to like Alaska to an uninhabited area and just like. Get a satellite going on just to hang out, and then like once a month I just run out and just hunt. So yeah, I would.
It's not bad. Yeah, it's we would both be werewolves, is what we're saying.
Oh, so much. I would tear up those birds so bad. Oh no, birds! I love birds though.
But aren't Dom and I werewolves in our comic book?
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm a badger.
And you're a beaver friend.
I'm a
badger
beaver friend. I'm kind of, you know what I'm saying? I'm a hybrid.
I like it.
I'm a hybrid.
I like it.
We have a lot of stories being built for it. I think that's everything, by the way, I want to say about this book. Paul, do you have anything?
Let me look through my 5 notes. There's really nothing. No, there was there's just nothing to it. It's just kind of...
I would say it's a disappointment because the one thing I thought I was looking forward to was swamps are not a normal werewolf environment.
Uh-huh.
So I was really looking forward to a bayou twist on werewolves, maybe how they operate, maybe about the culture there.
Right.
I don't know if they were just going to be werewolves into jazz or something, but I was really looking forward to it, and none of that came up.
How's that hermit been living in his little hobbit hut, and he hasn't gotten eaten by the werewolf yet?
Yeah, he should have been attacked all the time. How long has Bill been a werewolf?
There's no way he's been doing it for long.
It feels like he was just turned a werewolf last month, and this was his first time.
Maybe this is a statement about modern man living in their modern houses, and we can be picked apart as prey easily, but the man who stays with nature is one with it.
Wait, Paul, did you just read that off of something?
No, I just kind of think I just came up with that awesome idea about what this story's about.
That's pretty deep, man. That's pretty deep.
I think I just solved the book, dude.
I think you just solved the book, man. I think we should leave that there. Why don't we get into some reviews?
Sure, yeah.
Let me pull these up. I don't think we need to resync. Let's just keep this baby rolling.
Yeah, we're going. This was a tight episode.
It's a tight episode. Listen, you were worried we were gonna have anything to talk about. Look at all this.
I know. Well, at least 15 minutes of it is about.
Oh, that's true. We didn't even talk about Overwatch. By the way, Overwatch is great.
Oh my god, we're going to go play more after we're done, right?
Yeah, let's just listen. I'm sure another episode of this will involve us talking about Overwatch.
Yes.
That's right. So if you guys ever want to help the show, word of mouth is amazing. Also, you can go on iTunes and leave us a review. Anything you want to say, 5 stars, helps us get pushed up the iTunes charts and helps other people discover the show, like possibly yourselves. We have 2 reviews. Paul, would you like to do the first one?
Yeah, I got the first one. It's by Rutro. Dog theme going here, guys.
He was also... I like it.
I had to go with Rutro. So he said, Goosebumps, books I hardly read, and a podcast that makes me regret that. I only read a few Goosebumps books as a kid. I was always terrified by the covers. I feel you, Rutro. Mm-hmm. When I did start reading the books, it was after the show came out that I realized they weren't as scary as the covers looked. Also get you there. Mm-hmm. This show is a great look at the books I remember and those I'm glad I never experienced. Not to mention everything great about 90s YA lit. I found this show back in September, and I'm super excited when a new episode pops up on my phone because I know about 1/4 of the episode will be about Goosebumps, and that ridicule is enough to make my day enjoyable.
Listen, we got to spread it out. You can't just have a burger and just be all meat. You got to have a little bread and a little ketchup,
a little fancy sauce on there,
and a lot of mayo. And that mayo might just be 15 minutes talking about mystery from the pickup artist, but it's mayo. It's mayo, and
it binds it. It's a binding agent.
It binds it. That's a great review. Totally like that one. I have one from Totally Not Worth It, who says a must listen if you love podcasts. 5 stars. He says, or she says, or it says, it could be a monster.
It says, yeah. Could be a werewolf.
Could be a werewolf. I found this podcast just a few months ago, but ever since I've been absolutely hooked. Dom, Chad, and Paul have a flawless chemistry that makes for banter that is both hilarious and entertaining. This podcast also allows me to revisit my childhood as the guys explore one of the most iconic children's book series of all time. Not to mention their Stein Slams are out of this world. Stein Slams, I love it. 10 living dolls out of 10. Totally worth a listen. Thank you, TNWI. That's the abbreviation name I'm giving you.
Thank you, but not thank you for scaring me with 10 living dolls at the end there.
Oh, God, living dolls. Living dolls. I don't want to steal this beat from an amazing podcast that I say we all love, my brother and me, but they do an amazing bit of finding eBay listings for haunted dolls that are just being sold on eBay. It's a great thing. Just Google that sometime. Real people are selling dolls that they claim are haunted and or psychic, and you can get them for cheap.
It's terrifying. Why would you ever bring that into your home?
I think the thing is the people making them are just in on the goof, and there are people who believe they're real and have psychic powers.
What? Are they trying to harness them? Because that's just playing. That's a deal with the devil, right?
Maybe they're trying to kill them and like gain their spirit.
That's what I'm saying. You're messing with forces beyond your power. Don't do that.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think that's good advice. I think that's another 2 years of school you just got there. Two years worth of schooling lesson right there. Don't buy a haunted doll.
That's all you really need. Meanwhile, too, if you also want to help the shows in other ways besides leaving a review, word of mouth is great. We don't have any advertising money, though we might start doing that soon. So keep an eye out for that. Maybe even this episode. But to advertise the show. So word of mouth is the best way to tell people about it, your own endorsement. And we see you guys on Twitter. You can follow us on Twitter at GoosebudsPod. There's several of you who tweet about us, and we love you so dearly. Like a few names, such as at Johnny Ketchum, at TGYR, at Lily Fizzle, at Rob Donovan, at Not an Actress, at Brennan Heimer, at Tom Semple, at Han Young Gamey. By the way, a lot of people really did not respond well to our Elsa and Spider-Man videos.
From our last episode. I forgot. I didn't look those up.
Paul, you gotta. Well,
hold on. Should I do it right now?
Sure. Let's get your. This is a little taste of the end.
Elsa and Spider-Man.
You'll find some. You'll find some.
Oh my god! I just saw the smallest thumbnail.
You're already horrified.
I give up. This is our lives. What the?
All creation has ceased to be in the eyes of Elsa and Spider-Man.
I love that they're using just a shitty banjo stock song.
Oh, it's all temp audio. Here's the thing. There was a hashtag going around, and I think it's cool, but it was all about for Frozen 2, give Elsa a girlfriend or something. And I think the hashtag should turn into give Elsa a Spider-Man boyfriend. I think if those videos did a thing, it would totally go viral.
She was just hanging out with Spider-Man on the couch.
Yep.
And then Spider-Man got hit in the nuts with a soccer ball by the Hulk.
Yep.
And then she went into a dream where she was hanging out with Spider-Man again, but in the snow this time.
That might have been a bad jump cut that they just used the dream filter for.
Oh.
I've not even seen that video. I'm just going to guess that's what they did.
So they meant to use a fade to black passage of time.
And they're like, this looks cool. It looks like rain on the screen. And not knowing storytelling, because these are just moms and dads.
Well, they got 1 million views for that transition right there.
Yep.
This is terrible. This is just... Wedding minus 50%. Okay. All right.
We're going to stop. We're going to stop there. But anyway, thank you so much for tweeting about the show and telling others. It means a lot. Besides those places, you can always reach us on Gmail at goosebuds@gmail.com, or just reach us on our own personal Twitters. We never talk about those. I'm on Twitter at Quantum Theory, QUANDTUM Theory.
I'm at Paul Ritchie, and my last name is RITCHEY. It's German, not Italian.
Yeah,
but I am Italian.
What else? If you happen to find our show via other means, there's a lot of other cool stuff we make. You can go, of course, on YouTube and watch Continue Show, where Paul and Dom and a bunch of our friends all do awesome shows weekly. You should go check out Spooky Squad, by the way, if you haven't. Spooky Squad is amazing. Their pilot.
We made a Goosebuds.
You basically made a Goosebuds. It's really funny. I love it. If you haven't watched it, you should go. I watch it actually multiple times, like every about a month or so. I go back and give it another shot. Yeah,
get real.
I really like it. I really like it.
Thanks, man.
I also made a thing recently with the help of Paul and Dom called Remember Hour, and I
didn't help. I wish I helped.
You gave me some feedback, at least.
Good.
You gave me some feedback. Okay. And Dom did all the illustrations. It's a puppet show that takes place in the apocalypse that tells kids in the future how it used to be in the long ago. And the first episode is about the console wars, and they get all the details wrong. And it has Barry from Game Grumps, if you know him as well. It's a fun time, and I hope we get to make more. It's very, very fun. Other stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Go check out other things. We make a lot of stuff, and we're making on more stuff in the future.
Talk about your podcast, your other podcast.
Oh, Paranoia Shop, which, guys, okay, here's the thing. I know we haven't done an episode in a long time.
But the other ones are evergreen, dude.
The other ones are evergreen, and we are going to make more. Like, it's just, here's the thing. Aaron and I, my co-host of Paranoia Shop, we're talking about conspiracy theories, paranormal stuff. It's a very, very fun time. I love it. All those episodes are evergreen. Thank you, Paul. We worked together on a show all day for like the last year and a half. When we leave that show, writing for that show, after 12 hours, we are exhausted.
Yeah.
and we got to find time to record one. We promise we'll do more. So all of your love when you guys send us stuff about waiting for Paranoia Shop means a lot.
Yeah. Hey, and you're going to have a TV show by you guys that you can watch.
Yeah. Troll Hunters has been announced finally, if I haven't ever said it on the show. Wait till,
I don't know if you have.
I'm working on this show called Troll Hunters, created by Guillermo del Toro. It's going to be on Netflix. What can I say? It's going to come out later this year. It's looking real cool. Keep your Netflix subscriptions open. It's an animated series that's fun adventure comedy, kind of like The Goonies or Buffy or something.
I'm on board.
It's a fun time. Paul, anything else you got?
Nothing.
Let's go play some. Oh,
you want to go see what Desire's up to?
Wait, yeah. What's Desire up to?
Ballpark Frank.
Ballpark Frank and Desire. Are we gonna go hit the club? Are we gonna go?
You want to go see what those guys are up to?
Let's go nag. Let's go watch them nag.
Let's go get a game on.
AKA go play Overwatch. Okay, guys. Thanks for listening. Dom will be back next time, and we'll all be together for the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Love you all.